But let's start with the update that's coming on the global front and what the US markets did and how they managed to close. So US markets did manage to see a bit of a gain in the last trading session, where the Dow Jones managed to see a gain, I beg your pardon, of around 0.2%, closing in at 39,375. S&P 500 seeing gains of almost 0.4 to 0.5% in trade, and NASDAQ also managed to close on a bit on the positive side. So yes, that's how we saw the US markets closing. Not much of a worry that actually came in on that front at the US markets. As of now, you know what Nifty is also indicating is a bit of a positive start that one could be watching out for the Nifty as well. Now overall, a lot of stocks that were buzzing in the US markets as well. What came in also is that the gold prices saw a bit of a surge. The US jobs data that came in, so everyone was keeping an eye out on that US jobs data because it was a bit weaker than expected in terms of the non-farm payroll data. We had commentary that came in as well that now where's the overall situation headed, given that this job data was weaker than expected, means the unemployment is still a bit of a concern that comes in for the US markets, and that is why we saw a bit of an increase that came in the US markets. Let's keep an eye out on where that is headed. Now when you talk about the European markets as well, let's see how that closed. UK elections, obviously those results came in, everyone was digesting those results. So FTSE closed with a cut of almost 0.4% in trade. CAC was quite unchanged, while obviously we saw the DAX closing with gains of almost 0.1% in trade. So yes, European stocks mainly were closed lower to a bit of a mixed as what we could highlight coming in. Let's look at what the stock 600 also did and how that performed as well, because overall it was a mixed close that came in for the European markets. So interesting to watch out for in terms of where the Indian markets will open today, Shreyansi.
Well, absolutely. And speaking of interesting, let's also take a look at US crude oil, because that fell but still booked a fourth straight weekly gain as falling inventories show an uptick in demand. So when you're taking a look at WTI, that hit a session high of $84 thereabout per barrel, the highest level since late April coming in for that one, before pulling back. And the US benchmark, when you take a look at that in terms of a weekly movement, gained about 2% this week. While when you take a look at the global benchmark, Brent, that was up about 0.2% thereabout. Now let's also take a look at price movements coming in for Friday, because WTI was around those $83 per barrel levels. So downtick of 72 cents or about 0.9% coming in for that one. Year to date, that contract has gained 16.1% though. So that is an uptick coming in, at least on a year to date basis for this. And when you take a look at Brent also, that was around those $86 per barrel levels. So a downtick of 89 cents or over 1% coming in for that one. And year to date, that contract is also ahead by 12.3%. So those are the price updates, but oil market analysts have also been forecasting a tighter market in the third quarter as summer fuel demand picks up. So when you take a look at US inventory data, that appeared to confirm those forecasts as well, with crude stocks declining by 12.2 million barrels and gasoline also falling by 2.2 million barrels last week. Lastly, let's also take a look at gold prices then. Gold prices extended gains on Friday to their highest level in a month following US jobs data that was keenly watched out for, that showed that the labor market was softening, lifting expectations around a Federal Reserve interest rate cut in September as well. So when you take a look at spot gold, there was an uptick coming in for spot gold, and it was around those $2,300 per ounce levels. And on a weekly basis then, bullion was up nearly 2% for the week. So that is the handover coming in both for oil and gold, Vinny.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.